Don't get in this for Donnie Fuller.
Taking a selfie as we're going. All right, well, we just took a selfie. We're ready to go. It's the PHNX Coyotes season preview. I'm Leah Merrill, I can't speak. Joined by Craig Morgan and Steve Peters.
Petey and I are both on our phones.
Yeah, everywhere. This is off to a great start so far.
Work.
We're going to be going through each of the position categories for the Coyotes, going through each of the players, kind of giving a preview of each, and we're going to do that. But first, we're going to do a little, just season preview subject to start off. And to start this category off, we're going to go, the Coyotes finished their preseason 5-1. Is that, does that mean anything for
fact or fiction?
Oh, wow. The dramatic read.
Wow.
Wow. Someone's watching too many movies.
Does that mean anything at all for the how they're going to perform in the regular season, or was that just a fluke? And that is what we're going to
what I think,
off with.
Leah, I think it's a little bit of both. And I think what this proves is what we talked about, Bill Armstrong building a team with good character people. I think this team gelled together quickly. I think they showed their character. They got hardworking guys that are on one-year contracts, and they're playing like that right now. So I think that was great. Those are things that all came together really well. But keep in mind, they played 2 games against Anaheim, 2 games against LA, who are both expected to be towards the bottom of the standings. And when they faced a team that put up a true NHL line, we're talking about Ben Seguin and Radulov, they looked different.
Yeah, I agree with you on all the points about the Coyotes. This is a character club. They worked hard. They did everything that they could. And there's a lot of guys here with something to prove. A lot of them trying to prolong their NHL careers. The difference is when we hit the regular season, other teams are going to start playing like that too, because there are a lot of veterans in the lineup for other teams that, look, even the executives for the NHL will tell you, veterans, they don't have a lot to show in these preseason games, so you're probably not going to get maximum effort. They're just trying to get through it, get their conditioning, get some reps, and not get hurt.
Yeah.
When the regular season starts, the intensity will ramp up another level, and then we'll really get a much better read on whether the Coyotes can actually compete. I think they'll be able to compete. I think they'll compete hard, but again, when I look at this roster, it was constructed in a way that they don't want them to win. Let's just be honest about it.
And the other thing is, then you mentioned the teams they played. Majority of them are from the Pacific Division. So as we mentioned on our center show, the Coyotes are not in the Pacific Division. They're in the Central. So that'll be something. And also, it's an 82-game season. You can't have that, maybe in the beginning, let's prove something. Everyone has these expectations for us. Let's shut them down. Well, you can't sustain that level of motivation for 82 games.
Yeah. They play the Andre Tournier style. They're playing relentless, hard on the puck. I don't know if that translates to wins games 1 through 82. So great start for the preseason. I don't think it translates regular season.
Well, on that lovely and high note, let's kick off our previews of the centers, or not the centers, the wings.
And take 2.
I feel like we should be eating wings while we're doing
Me
this.
too.
I didn't think of that till just now.
It's never too early for wings.
And
quality planning.
If we're talking about teams and rebuilds, you think of wings, you think of Buffalo. There it is.
Well, the Coyotes. No, we're not. We're going to keep going.
All right.
Can we talk about wings? No,
we're going to talk about the wings.
No, let's talk about Phil Kessel.
Wings.
Let's talk about Phil Kessel. There he is.
Speaking of wings.
Wow.
Not hot dogs.
Wow. Can you edit that out? Don't let him. Well, I'm sure he's listening right now too. So Phil, apologize.
I'm certain he's not, actually.
Yeah. He's not.
Phil Kessel, nicknamed Kess. Wow, so original. Phil the Thrill. That's a good one.
Yeah. I don't know what Kessel's nickname
What should it be now? How many years in the league? How many games has he played? Can we get into like grandpa or anything like that? Yeah, there's
got the Iron Man streak going.
Oh, the Iron Man, yeah. What's it?
Yeah.
Tony Stark? Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Starky? That might be good.
Okay, that would work.
Wow.
At least it's
and Tony Stark
creative.
is on the older end of the Avengers.
There you go.
Wow.
So that works.
Wow, she knows her Avengers.
More
Impressive.
ageism coming into our show here.
Where's the? We needed Shane on the clap. That was good. Impressive.
Oh man. You mentioned when we were talking about the centers that there's a couple Coyotes from Madison, Wisconsin, and Phil Kessel, of course, is one of 2 Coyotes from the Madison, Wisconsin area, along with Schmaltz. And that Kessel had 286 points in 86 games.
In his AAA Bantam year.
86
that's
in
impressive.
86
That's
games.
insane.
AAA
That's
Bantam.
insane. 176 goals.
He's always
Imagine.
been able to score. The guy can score.
Yeah, he can score.
Unreal. It's going to be an interesting season for Phil Kessel. His best case scenario, top 6, 20-goal scorer who's, sets himself up to be a trade deadline contender. Worst case, without a center to get him the puck, his play tails off and he guts out the final year of his contract. And I think we can all agree, and it's known, that Phil Kessel wants out, and he's kind of in charge of his own destiny here with how he performs and how he creates his value. So
to an extent, right?
Yeah.
They got to have someone to get him the puck.
Yes.
But it's basically on Phil to get out of here.
The biggest question for me is short term is he going to play?
Yeah.
Is he going to play opening night and that Iron Man streak end? Or is he going to play? Like that's
I suspect he'll play.
And I know you read in the media, oh, we're going to be tough and it doesn't matter if he's not healthy enough to play, he's not going to play. BS. If he can put his foot in a skate, he's playing opening night. There's going to be too much pressure for him to play that night. So if I don't care if he's in shape or if he's up to game speed, if he can get his foot in a boot, he's playing opening night to keep the streak alive. That's my opinion. That's what I believe. He needs to score if he wants to get out of here. We've said it over and over and over again in all of our shows. Phil Kessel can score. He's not here to back check. He's not here to defend. He's here to score. And he's here to score on the power play. Can he do that? Absolutely he can. If he does, he'll be gone by the trade deadline. If he can't, he'll be sitting here next spring.
All right, Petey, you mentioned Andre Tourigny. Tourigny wants to play with pace. We need to play with pace here to get through all these wings. So roll right into Clayton Keller.
Clayton Keller. Oh, see, look at that.
There he is.
Oh, that's great. What are we saying about Clayton Keller? Fun fact, he joined the U.S. National Development Program in 2014 and finished his career in 2016, setting the record for all-time points ahead of other Coyotes, Phil Kessel, Chicago Blackhawk Patrick Kane, some really big names, right?
Austin Matthews.
Future Coyote Austin
Nickname Kells. I don't know what you call him.
I didn't have a good one for him either. It's funny, we've been around him for a while, but I don't have a great nickname for him.
You know what? We talk about the upside for Clayton Keller. He can be a top 3 forward on this team that can produce points, score goals, look for somewhere around a 65-point producer for this team, dangerous on the power play. He needs to find a way to get and possess the puck inside the dots. He's got to be an inside player. He plays too much on the perimeter year after year, and you don't notice him. He can stick handle through players, great, but if he can't get to the inside and he can't get scoring chances from there, he's not effective. Worst case, he flounders on the outside and he struggles to create offense.
Yep. Did put on 7 pounds in the offseason. We'll see if that helps him to play that way. Let's move on to my favorite guy to tweet about.
You get this guy.
Louis Eriksson, whose NHL nickname is King Louis, and I'm okay if it sticks with that, but based on what I've been tweeting, I want to call him Renaissance.
Or Renaissance Man.
Because that's what this Renaissance Man. There you go. That's even better. I'm adding that to my notes. Renaissance Man. Who knows? Can Louis revive his career here? He could be another one of those guys that ends up moving on to another team, getting an opportunity with a playoff team. He looked great in the preseason. I thought he really brought it in the preseason. So we'll see if that carries over again, how much weight you put into the preseason. But fun fact, he was part of the Tyler Seguin trade. Seguin, Rich Peverly, Ryan Button to the Stars for Louis Eriksson and 3 prospects, one of which you probably have heard about, Riley Smith, who's a good NHL player, but then Matt Frazier and Joseph Morrow. Not a good trade for the Bruins. Not a good trade. It didn't pan out well for them.
Although he scored over 30 goals in his first season in Buffalo, or his last season in Buffalo, and it took him 5 seasons in Vancouver to match that 30-goal total.
Best case scenario for Louis, freed from the pressure of playing in Vancouver in that nutty fan base. He actually enjoys a career renaissance and gets traded to a playoff team at the deadline. Worst case, he continues his downward spiral, and this ends his NHL career.
That is.
And I said on our previous show, I have him being one of the leaders in goal production for this team.
You called him the leader.
Okay, I did.
Just put it out there.
It's going to really depend on who he plays with.
Yep.
Because last night he didn't play with the top 2 wingers or forwards. and it shows. Like
Talking
he's
about
got
the
to
last preseason game.
Yeah, correct. He's going to have to play with elite players to put up those kind of numbers, or at least top line players here in Arizona to get that kind of production. And if he doesn't, he won't.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Antoine Roussel. That is a happy-looking person. He's just cheesing.
Great interview, too. Great interview.
He just looks... The vibes are already good for him. All right, NHL nickname. Like Dangerous? Like...
You probably should pronounce it like that, because it has 2 S's. I've seen this.
The feisty Frenchie? That one's fun.
How about that one? Yeah.
Craig, why don't you explain what the nickname should be, because you have the story behind this.
So Ray Whitney, who played with him in Dallas, told me they called him Rooster because he's always chirping. He just never shuts up. So that's a great nickname to me. Not surprising that it came from Ray Whitney.
Rooster and Roussel, it all
Yep,
works.
it works.
So there's fine. Look, we've been looking for a creative nickname. We finally have one. PDD. What?
I'm just looking at this next fact. I don't get it. Can somebody help me with what the fun fact is?
Leads all French-born NHL players in points. There's 12.
And there's
Active as an active
all time. There's only 12, according to Quan Hockey, 12 guys who've been born in France and
Wow.
played in the NHL. But he is miles ahead of everybody else. I think Pierre-Edouard Bellemare is on that list. I think he's second on that list. So
that's impressive.
Yeah.
He's a player that I think fans are going to like. They're going to gravitate to him. He works hard. His feet are always moving. He's physical along the walls. He is going to play every night. He's going to kill penalties. Do I anticipate he's going to put up a lot of points? Probably not. I hope he plays with Beagle because I think they're a good tandem. Friends on and off the ice. I like him. He's going to fill the energy void that was left by Connor Garland. Unfortunately, will not fill the offensive void left by Connor Garland.
All right. Yes, best case scenario, like you said, middle six role as an agitator and a penalty killer, which if he's, always chirping, it's probably a good place to be. He chips in with some offense, gets traded to a playoff team at the deadline. I love how that's a best case scenario.
Do we have to trade everybody, Craig? In your stories? Is that a thing?
But,
Can we keep somebody here?
It's maybe not best case scenario for the team, but best case scenario for the player who maybe would have a shot to
See,
be
I think
on
the
a
best
contender.
case is he plays well, they re-sign him, and he's here for years. That's what I think.
All right.
Maybe.
I don't think he's going to be a guy that's going to get him over the hump as far as where they finish in the standings. And you need that type of player that keeps the motor running.
And the return you get for him at the trade deadline is probably not such that you
he's
say,
a
you
third
gotta
or
make
fourth
that move.
line grinding guy that.
On the flip
Great.
side, if you want to make sure you're losing a lot after the trade
you
deadline,
want
maybe
that?
you move a guy like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
Worst case scenario, third straight season of declining production, which leaves him with few options for the offseason. Lawson Krause.
You want this one, Petey?
I don't know. Let Leah do this one.
Didn't she just do the last
Yeah,
one?
but I talk enough.
Gosh.
People
That is
hear
it.
enough.
Look at
Own
that.
it all.
Look at that mustache. Rivals
Look at
Shane's
that
mustache.
People hear from me enough, Leah.
Look at that stash.
Oh my gosh. NHL nickname Krauser, once again, the ER. Not very original. But what Craig said his nickname should be Butter's co-handler. If you don't know, Lawson Krause has a dog, Butter Pig Krause. And this dog has 2,310 Instagram
Seriously?
followers.
Seriously, the dog's got
More
named
followers
Butter
than you,
Pig's
Petey.
got more, like 4 times more followers than I do.
Yep.
We need...
It's in the works.
Oh?
Yeah,
There's your
works.
tease.
Take over
It's
the
in the
mic
works.
from me.
Oh my god.
Probably has better hockey takes too.
Another fun fact about Lawson Krause is he once got in trouble for telling a classmate in grade school that hamburgers were made out of dolphins, which made her cry.
That's a deep dive that you don't get
I
anywhere
got
else.
way too many connections to Lawson. He's not happy because
Deep
I've got all
dive.
sorts of.
Wow,
things.
that was a random one. Oh my gosh.
Here's another one. This is from his dad. I can just go ahead and say it. He was on a Florida fishing trip draft year with prospects like Connor McDavid. Connor challenged Lawson to eat a worm for $100.
Oh, I've heard
David
this
was already
story, I
rich at
think.
this point. Lawson ate it, so he pulled out the $100 bill right out of his hand.
That's impressive.
I've got all kinds of fun facts about Lawson that I could read, but we don't have too much time. I might have to save some of these. He was a great baseball player too, by the way. When he was at the Diamondbacks game, he went yard in BP. He was a really good baseball player.
Craig is just full of fun facts about Lawson
And
Krause.
that's our show for today, folks. We've got 10 more guys to go, but quickly, he was great in preseason, showed some of that offensive flair that we hope to have from him this season, and what Florida expected when they drafted him in the first round.
11th overall.
He's got some confidence.
That's a high pick.
Coaches like him. I think he's going to have a breakout year this year. That's the upside. The downside, he continues to flounder and be inconsistent.
And it's a RFA contract year for him.
Yes.
So.
All right. I'll do Alex Galchenyuk, who recently signed a 1-year contract for the league minimum after coming over on a PTO. Going to be an interesting player for them. I was a little surprised that they brought him in because he could add offense and maybe hurt their chances of losing, but we'll see where he ends up in this lineup. The nickname that most people call him now is Gally because he hates the other one, Chucky, that stuck with him earlier in his career. I'm not a big fan of Gally. I don't want to call him a nickname that he hates, though, so I'm open to suggestions.
One of his first meetings here, the coach was showing video and called him Chucky. And during the middle of a video meeting, when players don't traditionally talk, he actually said, please don't call me that. So in a coach's meeting. So he wanted to be called Gally. Giggles? Can we call him Giggles? He's so happy to be here.
He is so happy.
He's thrilled to be ecstatic. He's another guy offensively. I was surprised they brought him because you don't want to get points. You don't want to win games. He's a guy that can help them do that. Always question his defensive side of the puck. But I tell you what, when he's happy and he's comfortable in a situation, he's going to be a really good player for you. I expect that he's going to be a top 6 forward every night on the power play, and I think he's going to get his points here.
Fun fact about him, speaks 3 languages, Italian, Russian, and English. Of course, his dad came from Belarus. Best case scenario, we've talked about this a little bit, but he parlays this opportunity into a new contract. Ideally for Gally, it's with the Coyotes because he doesn't want to leave here, but he doesn't have any protection in his contract. So if he produces, they could send him to a team at the deadline, which would be an awkward situation, right?
Another team for him.
Yeah. The worst case scenario is, he never captures that early career magic that we saw in Montreal and just plays out a 1-year contract and then has to look for another option in the summer.
All right.
Dmitry Yaskin?
Take it away.
I don't know where we start. He led the KHL in scoring last year. That's his fun fact. With 38 goals in 59 games. Haven't seen that offensive outburst in the preseason at all. Mm-hmm. I haven't seen the creativity, the playmaking with the puck. Honestly, I haven't noticed him through 6 games of training camp. So I don't know what he's going to be. They expect him to be contribute to the offense here. That's the best case. Worst case, he goes back to the player he was before he left, and he never really catches on in the NHL. And that would be a disappointment for Bill Armstrong and the Coyotes management staff, who thought pretty highly of him to sign him to such a big contract coming over.
NHL nickname? Yask?
Yask. Come on. I don't know what but he's Russian. We call him Bear because it's the easy tag.
Well, that's
one more
Bear
Russian Bear.
Bear 4. Yeah, I don't know.
No.
There's so many.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We got to work on some of these, and we're going to need help from our
from our
viewers, from our listeners.
Yes.
Listeners,
if
you got to throw nicknames at us.
Please tell us your ideas for nicknames.
For nicknames for all of it, centers, wings, Ds, and goalies.
Yeah.
At some point, we need to have a definitive list, and maybe we'll have to involve this next guy who you're going to talk about in the selection of these nicknames.
Christian Fisher, former guest of the show.
That's right. Friend of the show.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show. Wow.
Oh, man. Another good photo. Cheesing. NHL nickname, this one's easy. Fish. What his nickname should be? Fish.
Yeah. Why do you change that?
That one's easy. That one's easy. Fun fact. This is funny.
This is distasteful to me.
Eats ketchup on almost everything.
His eggs.
Yeah, and I know Craig has an issue with that. If you watched our interview with Christian Fisher, you would know that he had a bottle of ketchup next to him in the interview.
He gave us the 3D with the ketchup bottle and shoved it into the camera.
So, even if he doesn't eat ketchup on everything, he does have a amazing sense of humor about it. And another thing that when we had him on, that he seemed really, really motivated. Like this was kind of his year to prove himself. So a best case scenario for his role, grab a top 9 role, learn to finish the chances, and that he creates with his hustle and his determination. Worst case scenario, language is on the 4th line again, lacks bargaining power as an RFA this summer. I would like to see him succeed based on at least his attitude alone. It seems like it seems exciting to me, but then again, we just talked about how long can you maintain that.
He benefited most from the reset of coaching staffs, of the people on this squad, because if you've seen him play at all in the preseason, he's playing with renewed energy. His feet are moving. He's tough along the walls. He's playing on both the power play and the penalty kill.
Had a goal in the preseason
chipped in
finale.
A goal.
Yep.
Yeah, in the game last night as a net front player on the power play. So he's done everything he asked. He's well liked in the room. He's a leader of this group. Whether they put a letter on him or not, he will still be a leader. Extremely well liked, great personality, doing everything the coaches have asked for. I expect him to have a really good season here. Top 9, you know what? He's happy playing top 12. As long as he's in the lineup every night, he's going to be happy. Give him his ice time. If he can play fourth line and one of the special teams, and I see him more as a killer, then he'll get his extra ice time. I think that's a role he fits in well. Fourth line winger, killing penalties. That's where he fits. I think that's what he'll do.
Moving on to Ryan Dzingel. There he is. And not surprisingly, his nickname is Zinger, which is actually a good
That's a
nickname.
good
I like
one.
that one.
I'm going to stick with it.
I like that
Zinger.
one.
You know what I thought of? And to age ourselves again, Petey? Dolly Madison Zingers.
Wow.
Remember those?
Yeah.
Did you eat those?
No.
Okay. Well,
I was a
just
Twinkie
alone
guy.
here. I'm on an
Twinkie guy.
island. I'm going to move right on. Fun fact about Zinger. Played on the same 14U Chicago Mission team. Another
Wow.
Chicago guy with former Coyote prospect Robbie Rousseau. And Nick Lappin, another guy who's in the NHL, whose father, I should say, I played with. And I'm aging myself a lot in
You
this
played
read
with his
here.
father, really?
I did, Pete Lappin.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Why didn't I see? If I would have done more research, we'd have a lot more connections to Minnesota hockey. I've noticed the theme through these two shows has been, hey, he played
Stop
in Chicago.
right after, if I had done more research.
Yeah, fair point.
Dot.
Yeah, fair point. Got
All
it.
right, best case scenario for role for Ryan Dzingel. Top end speed leads to a top 9 role and a revival of a career in which he had 23 and 26 goals in back-to-back seasons. If that happens, he could also be trade bait. I'm going to start using
Again,
that every time I talk about
seriously.
these guys now.
Yeah, just highlight every player that plays well is gone.
Exactly. Listen, I think it's part of the plan. I think he would like to flip a bunch of these guys for assets. Worst case scenario, injuries and decreased production, 16 goals over the past 2 seasons, continue, and Dzingel finds himself stringing along on 1-year contracts.
I think he's another guy that from day one of training camp to the last day of training camp, he has progressed. I thought he played better as the games went on. I didn't notice him much early. I think in the last game that he played in, I thought he looked more offensive, handled the puck better, created plays. He's quick enough on his feet to be an offensive threat. Let's hope he puts it together here. I still think best case for him, I agree. He's an every night player that gets an opportunity to contribute offensively.
All right. Andrew Ladd. This one, I have so many questions.
We all do about Andrew Ladd, yes.
His NHL nickname is Gary.
We don't know why.
Is that a true
That's
thing?
what the Islanders were calling him, and nobody has gotten to the bottom of it, so
Really?
I'm going to ask him. When we find out why his nickname is Gary, it may stick. We may decide at that point, okay,
Wow.
that's a great story.
But it may
Or
be an inside story that's inside the locker room that we never get to hear.
it's true. That's probably why it hasn't come out yet. So
Well,
we'll keep trying.
Gary and Larry.
Yeah.
Gary and Larry. Yeah,
Look at that.
There you go.
Oh, man. Well, fun fact, Andrew Ladd won a Stanley Cup with the Blackhawks in 2010 and then was traded due to a bungled RFA qualifying process.
Where's my cowbell for Stan Bowman? I forgot my cowbell.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't officially done that on
No, we
air.
haven't
I
done
have a
the
feeling
cowbell
it's-
yet.
This room's too small for that cowbell.
This would have been the perfect segment for the cowbell, though, because the Blackhawks won the Cup that year, and because they failed to qualify 3 RFAs that messed
what a
up their
mess.
entire contract situation.
That was a mess.
They were going to have to unload some guys anyway, but they lost Andrew Ladd, Dustin Byfuglien, and Chris Versteeg off a Stanley Cup winning team. Those are 3
Tough.
Yeah.
really good forwards that they had to give up. That was tough.
Here's a player that, again, early on in camp, his first game, I said he can't keep up. The first game of preseason, I was concerned of where this was going to end for him. He's coming off injury. He's not playing in the league. And I said he was just too slow. Last night, he gets 2 points, gets a goal. The one thing you can't bet against him yet is his compete level and his desire to play again. He is working hard to crack this lineup and to play. You got to take your hat off to what he's put in.
No doubt.
The work he's put in to get to where he is right now. How it ends up for him, I don't know. Like right now, to realistically think he's in the opening night lineup, there's only 12 guys that can play up front. Is he one of the top 12? I don't know. Not if we're trying to play a quick, fast, up-tempo game, but he works hard enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's a leader.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's his best case scenario, securing a regular role in the lineup. Worst case scenario, gets waived, sent to Tucson.
I personally don't see that happen. I don't
Yeah.
see him helping out in Tucson. I don't think that it's a good move for anybody. That's me personally.
He's got 2 years, right? So next year, I mean, he can't play a game. They get a draft pick if he doesn't. So
yeah,
I don't see Andrew Ladd's career with
I
the
think
Coyotes
we'll get a
extending beyond
better
this
look
season.
at this when their final roster is announced on what kind of a path they're going to take with Andrew Ladd. And he could be like he's won a letter every time he's played in preseason, right? Like he's clearly a leader.
Yeah,
we'll see. And I know again, people are rooting for him. People like him. I hope it turns out well for him.
Yep. All right. Last but not least, we'll let Petey do this one.
Liam
O'Brien. I know
and
Petey's high on
by the way,
Liam
O'Brien, absolutely been one of my favorite breakout players of this preseason. Everything he does is the way that Andre Tourigny wants to play.
Agreed.
When he comes over the boards, his feet are moving. He hits hard. He'll fight. He's so much fun to watch. There's just no room for him.
How do you sell that to a guy? Like you earned a spot on this team, but because of contract situations,
I don't know, and
That's
it's hard
tough.
to sell. And I guess when you go into training camp with 14 forwards on one-way contracts, you can look at it and go, if it's a team that didn't care about money, that money was not an issue, that they the coffers are full, yeah, we'll put a guy on a one-way contract making $1 million. We'll put him down in Tucson if it's the right move. I just don't know if this is the season for that to happen for the Coyotes. And it's unfortunate because Liam O'Brien has earned a spot, I think, in the way he's played during the preseason. I just don't know where or how they fit him in. Good news for Tucson. He is going to be a very good player for them down in Tucson. I think he's going to provide excitement for the fan base. And I do think he will get his call-ups here, and it may be sooner than later, depending on injuries or how the season progresses. And we talked about almost every player here being traded if they play well. There's going to be spots in the lineup throughout an 82-game season, and he will clearly be here for some of them. Unfortunately, I just don't think it'll be opening night. His nickname is Big Tuna.
I like that nickname.
Any thoughts?
Well, I'm going to dive into it. I mean, just haven't had a chance to talk to him, but Big Tuna is a good starting point. So I don't think we change that. I also like the other Liam because the Coyotes have all the Liams in the NHL, apparently. Liam Kirk is, of course, here as well. And
I do agree with the beard, the best beard on the team.
It's getting better day by day. Just hope it keeps going.
I hope that he's around when the Coyotes do make the playoff
playoffs
run.
will look like Rip Van Winkle at that point. Yeah.
I would love to see that.
So I hope he sticks around, and I hope we get to see a lot of Liam O'Brien playing both here and in Tucson. He's fun to watch.
That's a wrap on the Wings, isn't it, Leah?
We did it.
That's enough for the Wings. We did it in record time.
Wow.
I don't know about record time.
No?
Maybe. Check the clock.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you on the next show.